All right, 5.5, apply the remainder and factor theorems. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you is technically the remainder and factor theorems are actual theorems that you will use within pre-cal. However, even though that's the title of this section, we don't really actually use the theorems as they are actually in this section. Just kind of weird, but anyways. But they stuff about them still like applies and all of that. So there also is stuff called polynomial long division. We are not doing that. It's not overly critical, so we'll skip that. But we're getting into synthetic division. So we did synthetic substitution at the end of last quarter. And so now we're getting into synthetic division. Works the same way. Terms have to be in order. Like descending order, if there's a missing term, we put a 0. But what goes in the box is a little bit different.
Oh, darn it.
All right, so 12, we have 4x squared minus 13x minus 5 divided by x minus 2.
This looks so easy.
Now, next year, just so that you're aware, when they give you the problems in pre-cal and for AP, they're going to write this 4x squared minus 13x minus 5 over x minus 2. This is just the way your book writes it, so I'm writing it this way. But just be aware of that. It would mean the same thing. So this number here, okay, is a -2, but the opposite sign is what goes in the box. So when we were doing substitution, it was whatever sign they gave us. For division, it's the opposite sign. So we put a +2 here in our box. And then we're looking, are there any missing terms? So I've got squared to the first power and then to the 0 power, so I have no missing terms. So then we have 4, -13, -5. And a lot of you are writing your synthetic really, really weird. This is the way you write it. I had people writing lines and stuff like that. Synthetic doesn't look like a tic-tac-toe board, okay? It has one line and one box. Okay, so we bring down the 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 13 is -5. -5 times 2 is -10. -10 minus 5 is -15. So this is our remainder. Okay, if you remember when you had when you did like basic long division in elementary school and they told you to divide like 3 into 100, right, you would end up with a remainder at the end because 3 goes into 133 times and then there's like 1 left over, basically. Well, the stuff that's left over is your remainder. Yeah, you either put the little r or sometimes they would have you keep going and like make it a decimal, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this is our remainder. So I'm going to show you how you write your answer to the problem. This is not done yet. Okay, so look, this was an x squared term, this was an x term, and then this was the constant term. When we divide, this now is my x term, this is my constant term, and then this is my remainder. So the way we write our answer is 4x minus 5, and then whatever sign is on here, so either plus or minus, so minus 15 over x minus 2. So this is how we write our remainder. Whatever the number is over whatever we divided by. So that's going to be your final answer there. It's not, as long as you just pay attention to the terms. It's really easy. And a lot of times, at least on my first term, I'll write like, okay, this was x squared. So that when I get down here, I know this is x. Because what's coming in the next sections is that we would keep going. Okay, this might be like x to the 5th, and we're factoring. And so this is factoring it down for us. Okay, so that's why it's important to get this stuff now at the basics so that as it gets harder, you'll be ready for it. 16. x cubed minus 4x plus 6 divided by x plus 3.
Oh, we need to add another term.
Yep, so I've got a missing term, so it might be good to go ahead and note that, plus 0x squared, just so that you have it. So, opposite sign of this, so negative 3 is going in the box. And then terms in order, I've got 1, x squared was missing, so I'm putting a 0, negative 4, and then positive 6. And the one I'm going to caution you about is a lot of you missed this constant term on the exam. Okay, if the constant term is missing, that also has to get a 0. A lot of you just stopped instead of putting a 0 at the end. And so like you were right up to that point, but then you missed that. So just make sure that you watch for that as we're doing this stuff as well. All right, so bring down the 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, plus 0 is negative 3, times negative 3 is positive 9, minus 4 is 5, 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, plus 6 is negative 9, and so that is my remainder. So, to go back, this was an x cubed term. Once I've divided, this is now an x squared term. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 5, and then minus 9 over x plus 3. And that's your final answer.
Oi. Oh, no, no. 9 over x plus 3.
Yep. 18. X to the 4th plus 4x cubed plus 16x minus 35 divided by x plus 5. Now, one other thing, we talked about if terms are missing, but also make sure that you look to see if the terms are in the correct order. So these ones are, but make sure you watch for that. So I am missing my x squared term again, so I'm going to just put plus 0x squared here kind of underneath where it would be in the sequence so that I don't miss that term. So in the box, I put a negative 5. And then I've got 1, 4, 0, 16, and negative 35. Bring down the 1 times negative 5 is negative 5, plus 4 is negative 1, times negative 5 is positive 5, plus 0 is 5, times negative 5 is negative 25, plus 16 is negative 9, times negative 5 is positive 45, minus 35 is positive 10, which is my remainder. So my first term was x to the 4th, so once I've divided, it's now going to be x cubed. So that means my answer is x cubed minus x squared plus 5x minus 9, and then plus 10 over x plus 5.
Huh, got it right.
So what we're getting ready to get into is we're still basically doing the same thing. However, they're telling us now that they're giving us a factor, okay? So what that means is up here, I was dividing by this, and I got a remainder. That means this is not a factor if I were to, like, write this in factored form where it's like, you know, something times something times something, you know, so on and so forth, okay? So that means that this x plus 5 was not a factor of this original thing. If I get a remainder of 0, then it is a factor. Okay, so the next problems, they give us a function. So it says given polynomial f of x and a factor of f of x, factor f of x completely. So this is a different way to factor now that doesn't require you to just like know other things. So it'll make your factoring a little bit easier. If you get stuck, you can always use this method. Now, they have to have given you a factor in this situation. Later on in this chapter, you will be finding all the factors yourself. Not hard, just really time consuming. Alright, so we have f of x is equal to x cubed plus 6x squared plus 5x minus 12. And then the factor they give us is x plus 4. So I know that this is a factor. They've told us that. Now, in a sense, we're still going to be confirming that it's a factor by checking it with synthetic, but that's because that's what's going to get us to the next step that we need to. Because I would wager you can't just look at this function that I gave you and factor this in your head. You probably are like, I have no idea how to do that. So that's where this next step is going to come in. All right, so I am going to set up my synthetic division. So we put the -4, so opposite sign in the box. I have no missing terms, and they're in order. So I've got 1, 6, 5, -12. Bring down the 1 times -4 is -4. Plus 6 is 2. Times -4 is -8. Plus 5 is -3. Times -4 is +12. Minus 12 is 0. So this confirms that this is a factor. Okay, this being a 0 confirms that this is a factor. This was x cubed, meaning this is now x squared. So I've got x squared plus 2x minus 3. And technically, then this is all times x plus 4, because that's what would get me back to here. So you might be done at this point, but if we can keep factoring, we're going to. So at this point, I would look and see, okay, are there factors of -3 that give me a +2? 3, -1. So x plus 3, x minus 1. And then we can't forget the factor that they gave us, x plus 4. So this is in factored form, your final answer.
Totally do that.
You can never have more factors than your highest powered term. So this was 3, so I have 3 factors. However, you can have repeated factors. So just because it's, say if we get like x to the 5th or something, that doesn't mean you're going to see 5 factors written out. One could be repeated, or what you're going to end up finding out is we can have imaginary ones as well. And so you may not see the factor, but you can never have more than whatever your highest power is. So if you got down here and you had 4, something is wrong. Okay. 24, f of x is equal to x cubed minus 9x squared. Wait, nope. Can't read the right problem. Plus 18x squared. And then plus 95x plus 150. And we've got x plus 10 is the factor that they're giving us. All right, so opposite sign, so -10. I have no missing terms, so I've got 1, 18, 95, and 150. Bring down the 1 times -10 is -10. Plus 18 is +8.
Yay.
Times -10 is -80. Plus 95 is 15. times negative 10 is negative 150, plus 150 is 0. So I've confirmed that that's a factor. So now this was x cubed, it's now x squared. So I've got x plus 10 times x squared plus 8x plus 15. So now I need to see, can I factor this any farther? So are there factors?
3x plus 5.
Yep. So factors of 15 that give me 8 is 5 and 3. So I've got x plus 10, and then over here, x plus 5, x plus 3.
Graphing.
I said anything but graphing the first day.
I hate it.
You don't have to graph anymore, right?
Who said
What?
that?
I don't know.
Addie
We're going to
don't.
be graphing trig functions in like
Oh,
3 weeks.
Addie don't speak.
3 weeks. Oh,
Addie.
Don't remind us.
I promise you're going to want to go back to graphing lines by the time we're done with that. Okay, so up to this point, these ones have all had a 1 in front. This one is not going to have a 1 in front. It's going to be a little bit more involved. F of x is equal to 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 61x minus 20. And the factor they give me is x minus 5.
So how is this one more? Oh, sorry.
Because it has a number in front instead of a 1.
Be quiet.
3, negative 2, negative 61.
So positive 5 goes in the box, no missing terms, so put them down in order. All right, bring down the 3, times 5 is 15, minus 2 is 13, times 5 is 65, minus 61 is 4, times 5 is 20, minus 20 is 0, so I'm good. So this was x cubed. This is now x squared. So I've got x minus 5 times 3x squared plus 13x plus 4. So now I'm going to have to use the arch method. So I need factors of 12 that add up to 13. So I get 12 and 1. It's not as bad as it sounds. So I'm just going to draw a little arrow so I don't have to keep writing the x minus 5 until I get to my final answer. So I've got 3x squared plus 12x plus x plus 4. Then we factor by grouping. Take out a 3x, and I'm left with x plus 4. Over here, there's nothing I can take out, so technically I'm just taking out a 1, and I'm left with x plus 4. So then those match. So my factors now for my function, we have x minus 5 that we started with. Then I have 3x plus 1, and then the stuff from inside, x plus 4. Okay, so up here, this is a factor, okay? X minus 5 is a factor. That's like what goes in the parentheses and so on and so forth. The next step is to find the zeros. Well, to find the zeros, we take the factors and we set them equal to 0 and we solve. So this would be adding 5, so x equals 5. So that means that this right here is a 0. So this is the factor. This is a 0. Okay? Notice the 0 is what went in the box. So if they give you a 0, you just put that number straight up in the box. If they give it to you as a factor, or up here where we were dividing, it's the opposite sign going in the box. Okay? That's going to be probably the biggest thing that people make a mistake on, is knowing when to change the sign on it or not. So, finding zeros. Given the polynomial function f and a 0 of f, find the other zeros. So 30, we've got f of x equals 4x cubed minus 25x squared minus 154x plus 40. And then the 0 is 10.
4x cubed minus 25x squared.
So
minus
notice,
1.
I'm writing factor or 0 above what they give me so that I'm paying attention to, am I changing the sign or am I not changing
Is
the
that
sign?
decimal supposed to be
Yeah,
here?
it's at point 10.
It's
What the
just,
heck is that?
it's just like a dot, I don't know. So no. All right, so it's a 0. We do not change the sign. So that goes in here.
Yay.
So, no missing terms. So 4,
This is gonna be a big number.
negative 25, negative 154, and 40. Now, if they've told you it's a 0, that means it's going to give you a 0. Okay? If it's a 0 or a factor, unless they're telling you confirm that this is a 0 or this is a factor, you know it's going to come out to be 0 at the end. So, if you
It
don't
is.
get that, then something's wrong. So, bring down the 4, times 10 is 40, minus 25 is 15, times 10 is 150, minus 154 is negative 4, times 10 is negative 40, so that's a 0. All right, so we've confirmed that that's a 0. So, same thing, this was x cubed, that means this is now x squared. So I've got 4x squared, yep, plus 15x minus 4. Technically speaking, if I wanted to write this out, this would be times x minus 10, yep, because we would have to change the sign if we were writing it in factored form. That's not what they're asking us for. However, in sections to come, this will be what we're doing. So I'm just showing it to you. But all I care about is what's going on over here. I'm finding the other zeros. Okay, so I need to factor this to find my zeros. So I need factors of negative 16 that add up to positive 15.
Boy.
16. Wait.
And what?
16 and negative 1 would give me a positive 15 and a negative 16. So, yep.
Oh, we're not adding.
So 4x squared plus 16x minus x minus 4. Factor by grouping. Take out a 4x. I'm left with x plus 4. Over here, take out a negative 1. Left with x plus 4. So that means that this would have factored into x minus 10 times 4x minus 1 times x plus 4. Now, I already know that 10 is a 0, so I really just need to take this and set the rest of it equal to 0. So 4x minus 1 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. And then you're just solving these little 1 or 2 step equations. So x equals 1/4, or x equals negative 4. So these are the values that we're finding. 10 was also a 0, but they gave me that one.
Stop smiling. Chelsea.
One more.
Okay.
And then we are. Don't worry, you have tomorrow to do these in class.
Oh, yay.
Thank the Lord.
And if you all go home and do them today, then we just do the next section tomorrow.
Don't do them, guys. Don't do your homework.
All right, f of x equals 3x cubed plus 34x squared plus 72x minus 64.
Are they
And
gonna show them where there's one of the X's missing? Or are they just never gonna do that?
You wishing death.
I mean, yeah, it would just be you would see that it's missing.
Oh, okay.
These ones, they just aren't, but there will be problems that they do give you. I mean, I don't know in this section necessarily, but that's why I just like say it over and over again so that you'll pay attention to that, because then you'll get to a section where they haven't given you any, and then all of a sudden they do, and then you like are getting them wrong because you're forgetting a piece. So, all right, so this is one of my zeros, so I do not change the sign, so negative 4 in the box. No missing terms, so I've got 3, 34, 72, and negative 64. Bring down the 3. Times negative 4 is negative 12. Plus 34 is 22. Times negative 4 is negative 88. Plus 72 is negative 16. Wait, yeah. Times negative 4 is positive 64. Minus 64 is 0. So I confirm that that's a 0.
You're not right.
So I'm left with 3x squared plus 22x minus 16.
X plus 4.
Yeah, so if you wanted to, you could write this. Again, you don't have to because that's not technically what they're asking us for, but if you want to get in the habit for the problems that are coming in the later sections, you can. So now I need to factor this. So I need factors of 3 and negative 16.
What's that?
48. So factors of negative 48 that add up to positive 22.
Oh, 1. He sighed at me when I did. Okay, hold on, everyone be quiet. Great power. Yeah, it's not working.
24 negative.
I was about to say that, Dylan.
Good boy, Dylan.
24 and negative 2.
Brains aren't working.
Oh my god.
Alright, so I've got 3x squared plus 24x minus 2x minus 16. Factor by grouping. 3x, and then I have an x plus 8. Take out a negative 2. X plus 8. So that means in total, this would factor into x plus 4 times 3x minus 2 times x plus 8.
Whoa.
We set it equal to 0 to find the zeros.
Okay, I'm done.
So I already had, obviously, negative 4. I'm really only doing the other one. So 3x minus 2 equals 0. X plus 8 equals 0. So x equals 2/3 or x equals negative 8. If they were asking you to find all of them, obviously we would write negative 4, but they gave us that one, so we don't need to do anything with that. Any questions about this stuff right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Problems.
Can I just take a picture of it? I just closed my book.
Yeah, that's fine. 11, 17, 23, 27, 29, and 31.
Oh, that's so easy.
Do you know page? Remember, guys, we're not doing
366.